Now, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has welcomed the latest agreement between India and China to improve the relationship between them and take positive steps on the border issues. His spokesperson Stephen Juraric said on Wednesday that United Nations welcomed the positive result of this effort of a very important bilateral diplomacy rather. He added that settling international disputes through bilateral efforts should be saluted. And to discuss more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Jessica Taneja. Good morning, Jessica. What are the key takeaways from the latest meeting between India and Chinese officials? We did take our viewers through some of the important highlights, but how do you see the latest development brewing up as, Jessica?
Good morning, Deepika. Well, certainly an important day yesterday for the two sides in both India and China. The special representatives met for the 23rd time. Ever since its inception in 2003, while the significant moment being it comes after a gap of nearly 5 years. And you saw when the standoff in eastern Ladakh, the western sector, in 2020 had briefly halted those exchanges. But with the key takeaways, as you pointed out and were playing out for our viewers just a short while ago, the important thing to highlight is while most of the other key agendas were pretty much understood as to how this would go, especially if you talk about the implementation of the disengagement agreement, which was settled on the 21st October. Now, the effective implementation now means that there has been disengagement on two friction points, Depsa and Demchok, which were the contentions earlier as well, along with other 5 friction points. So talking about a long-term solution to the border issue, this is what this mechanism particularly focuses on, and also brief, moments where there have been where there has been breakdown on other mechanisms. This somehow has always been able to sort of work around recurring issues over the years. And we've also had the WMCC, which is the working mechanism for coordination and a consultation on the India-China border issue. So that has also been, taking place in the background for some time now to ensure an overall stability that India-China relationship would have needed. But the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra is an important highlight. What we haven't been able to see this time is any talk of resumption of commercial flights or journalist exchanges. Both the special representatives, of course, the talks were to lead to an expansion of the existing bilateral trade as well, because remember, China is one of our largest trading partners in the region, as is with many countries. So, and an economic giant at that one. So difficult to ignore and not have normalization of ties with a country with whom you share 3,500 kilometer border. But from the Indian side, the reason this wasn't taken up or this didn't see momentum to that effect in the last 5 years and thaw in the relation, because India's demand was simple and clear: resolve the border issue, and then we'll talk about trade and bilateral, relations could be resumed to the level which we saw before 2020. So this certainly has given a momentum to that, and with the invitation extended to Wang Yi to visit India for the next round of talks, this certainly goes on to show that both the sides do want to work out things. But as is the case with the India-China border issue, it's always a work in progress, and no permanent solutions have ever been part of this mechanism.
But how are we expecting the world to react to this development, because both of them are in the top 5 economies, Jessica?
That's correct. You also played out the statement that came out from United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who seemed to have suggested that this is a welcome move, as would be. Effective diplomacy, of course, is always applauded, and in this case, it has been the case for the last 5 years. There have been various mechanisms that were put in place. In fact, since 2013, when we saw the first point of friction between the two, there have been mechanisms that constantly sort of try to hold the relationship together. Now, no matter what differences at the border continue, trade has always, been constant between the two countries, and not just, talking in the 2000s. We're talking about for many years now. That continues, but at the same time, enhancing those trade ties and looking at how important the two players are in the Indo-Pacific region, the stability and the security of the region, and the kind of geo-economic implications it could have. This, of course, is a welcome move by the world, where two neighbors, indulge in effective diplomacy and show the world that perhaps dialogue can achieve a lot more than swords and spears.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective to this developing issue. Now moving on, a joint